The Major League Baseball season are to get to the World Series, but only the best teams achieve those goals. They do it with a combination of talent, experience, and a dedication to winning. Like a Major League Baseball team, Cannon & Dunphy's law firm has its goals. That's to win for its clients. And we've been doing it for 40 years with a combination of talent, experience, and a dedication to winning. So if you're hurt in an accident and you need help, call Cannon & Dunphy.
Every family adventure begins with a vehicle you can trust. At Boucher Automotive Group, we're more than just a dealership, we're part of your journey.
For over 40 years, Boucher has helped Wisconsin families find the right vehicle with service you can count on.
Community is what fuels us too. That's why you'll see us supporting local schools, Little League teams, golf outings, and other causes throughout the year.
From the first time you get behind the wheel to every service visit after, Boucher is there for all the miles and the memories that matter.
The Boucher Automotive Group. We ride with you every mile.
Want your brand to turn heads and win hearts?
Captivate Exhibits can bring your brand to life by transforming lobbies, creating history walls, and beautifying facilities.
For over 32 years, Captivate has been the MVP of trade show exhibits and workplace design and fabrication. Let Captivate craft immersive branded environments that tell your story boldly, beautifully, and with purpose at events and around the office.
Score big by making your next event or your own space unforgettable. Create something legendary by getting started today at CaptivateExhibits.com.
We Energies want you to keep this important safety message in mind. Before you start digging, planting, or landscaping on your property, call 811 to have underground utilities marked. Calling 811 at least 3 business days before you plan to dig will help you know what's below and can prevent a hazardous situation. Our representatives will mark the underground utilities on your property for free. So remember, stay safe and call before you dig.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News on News Radio 620 WTMJ. You've heard by now likely that conservative activist Charlie Kirk has been killed in a shooting on a Utah campus. 31 years old, leaves behind 2 young children. The shooter is still at large. The manhunt is on for the shooter. What we do know is that the shot was fired from a rifle, according to police, about 200 yards away. A news conference will take place at 6 o'clock.
At Utah University, yeah. It's crazy. 31 years old.
Too young,
dead.
for sure. Just awful. Absolutely atrocious. Dale Koinga is the president and CEO of the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. He is a decorated combat veteran. He's a former state senator, and he's with us in the studio. Hey, Dale, thanks for making some time for us.
Always good to be with you.
What's your reaction when you hear this jarring news?
You just, you have made time to actually give me a heads up to talk about this, and then you put me, I'm still speechless because
Me too.
It just seems like it's another day where you say, have we hit that point yet? I mean, just this assassination culture. And we live in a country where from the founding fathers till today, it's very clear that we stand for as a people, that there's literally nothing you can say where you deserve to be assassinated. Nothing. You could talk about any ism you want. You could say it any way you want, but no one deserves to be assassinated. And that doesn't even, I can't believe we're even having that conversation. Does anybody deserve to be assassinated? And he was someone who engaged in debate. And is there anything more American than debate? I don't care if you like what he debated or hate what he debated. Everyone's going to say, not everyone, there's going to be way too many political people that are going to make this an anecdotal point about the hatred of the left or the hatred of the right and go back and forth. We obviously have examples now in the last 6 months, whether it be Minnesota or with Charles Kirk, that there are absolute lunatics with guns on both sides of the political spectrum who have no faith or trust in God and decide to take rifles in their own hands to assassinate people. And so I know it's a moment we're going to talk about as a family, because I think these are moments you talk about a family. You talk about that there's good and there's evil in the world, and you talk about how to deal with that. But my prayers just go out for the family, everyone impacted, law enforcement right now that's still looking for this killer, and hopefully they find him and hopefully they get justice.
Yeah, Dale, you talk to decision makers all the time, and you were a legislator. Do things like this give our elected leaders pause to the point where they change their schedule? They think about whether they want to do this? This guy leaves behind 2 young kids and now a very young widow. Does it change the people that we actually have that are willing to help us run our country, run our states?
Yes, there's no doubt that if you have a culture where leaders are being targeted, that it makes people think one more reason why, whether you're going to be figuratively targeted with smears on your name or harassed when you go to the grocery store or literally be shot at, which we have now seen both from people in the elected office and political commentators. It definitely makes you think, okay, really, what is the cost of running for office? And then when you raise the cost, you get more and more people that don't care about the cost, but then maybe tend to be a little bit more and not grounded in the family lives and the careers that we have.
And just the video is everywhere online.
I would say it's the most graphic. The most graphic video I've ever seen online.
I agree. It did. So we first saw the video. We were actually in a meeting, Julie and I together, and the news broke and the video popped, and we both looked at the video and said, "Is that real? That can't be real. That looks like a scene from a movie. That is so graphic.
Yes.
That is so disturbing. That can't be out there in the universe." It's awful, Dale. It's just, I don't know. This one hits me more than others. Maybe it's because the video is so graphic. Maybe it's because he has a young family. But I can't believe this is the world that we're living in. This is our country.
Yeah, and you're pointing out he was literally talking about shootings before that, about shootings from the transgender community.
He was answering a question
he was
about
answering
mass
questions
shootings.
about shooting,
Yeah.
and it leads to the conclusion that it's coordinated, that there was some sort of tie-in because of all the different topics he talks about. We talk about that, and that shot rings out. So hopefully law enforcement's on it. I mean, it's not a very prominent campus. It's a smaller school, so I assume that there's cameras all over the place, even at a smaller school like that. Safe community. It's Utah. Utah has one of the lowest crime rates in the country, so it's not like it's a downtown campus in a big city with cameras everywhere. But I mean, I would like to believe that there are cameras, that there were. I mean, it looks like to me, I would say hundreds, maybe thousands of people at this event, well over 1,000.
Right.
Eyewitnesses. I guess the guy that they pulled away is not the suspect anymore. So, and it's also a very remote town. There's only so many entry points out of there. It would be hard to hide in the town. So hopefully they get those choke points. They get a description of this person. They get them. Because what would be terrifying is to have this person not captured.
No kidding, because people were scattering all over the place. My gosh.
Yeah, we're looking at video right now, and they scattered everywhere. The weaponry that's available today, I mean, 200 yards away. When Theodore Roosevelt was shot here in Milwaukee during his presidency,
right down there.
It was right. The guy came right up to him. Now we have this guy 200 yards away. You shoot a guy from the top of a building from 200 yards away, and this is what happened. He can get out of there and at least get on his way initially. That's so far away.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is incredible.
And we're also going to have a news conference coming up. It's supposed to be right at 5 o'clock. Yeah. And there's supposed to be updates in Utah on what happened. Maybe the status of if they got the shooter.
We're monitoring that. We will bring you the latest. When that news conference happens, we'll bring it to you. Paul Farrow, Waukesha County Executive, will weigh in with some perspective coming up at 5:15. Alex Stone, ABC News, is either there or on his way there to Utah. He will join us live coming up at 5:45. Dale Koinga, thank you so much. We always appreciate your perspective.
See you next week.
It is 5 o'clock at WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores. Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield. 23rd and Lincoln and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. Great bargains and a great cause. You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm John Mercure, your top story. The founder of Turning Point USA, shot and killed.
I'm Julia Fellow. Charges filed on the deaths of 2 Marquette students.
I'm Debbie Loziga. Slowing down big time on southbound 43, just south of Capitol Drive, all the way down through the Marquette down to the KK River crossing. On the northbound side, backing up from the base of the high-rise bridge through the Marquette up past North Avenue. We've got southbound 41 slowing down from Good Hope Road all the way down to Capitol. Northbound has got some backups coming up from Mayfair Road all the way up to Hampton. And then we've got some issues on the bypass heading southbound from the Zoo interchange slow all the the way down to the Hale. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 58. Tomorrow, sunny, a high of 78. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, Charlie Kirk, a right-wing speaker, has been shot and killed while speaking at a college in Utah. It happened at Utah Valley University at an outdoor courtyard. More from ABC's Aaron Katursky.
There was security with Charlie Kirk. His visits on campuses across the country are often controversial. It appeared to us to be about 5 or 6 individuals making up his security detail. Often they're scanning the crowd for weapons at close range, maybe not something off in the distance. And it was his private security detail that appeared to carry Charlie Kirk from the scene, race him away from campus, where he has now been pronounced dead by President Trump.
Utah police are still looking for a suspected shooter. We've got a lot more on this coming up in the next hour. Paul Farrow, Waukesha County Executive, joins us with Perspective at 5:15. ABC's Alex Stone in Utah at 5:45.
And we're also monitoring a news conference that we'll bring to you live. In other news, a jury has been seated in the trial of the man accused of attempting to kill President Donald Trump last year. ABC's Peter Haralambous.
A jury of 5 men and 7 women will decide the fate of Ryan Ruth, who's accused of hiding in the bushes of Donald Trump's golf course last year with an assault rifle to kill the then presidential candidate. Ruth dismissed his own lawyers early this year and is representing himself, an unusual move that means he'll be directly addressing the jury on Thursday to defend himself. The judges barred him from arguing that the attempted shooting was justified or using the First Amendment to defend his alleged actions. From federal court in Fort Pierce, Florida, Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Charges have been filed in the deaths of 2 student athletes from Marquette University.
Amandria Brunner of West Allis was turning left at 27th and St. Paul September 5th. At the same time, a speeding Jeep carrying 6 members of the Marquette lacrosse team went through the intersection. The collision led to the deaths of 19-year-old Scott Musho and 20-year-old Noah Snyder. Brunner admitted to police she had 2 drinks before driving. Her blood alcohol level was almost 2 times over the legal limit, and police found an open can of Miller High Life behind the passenger seat. Brunner was previously convicted of OWI back in 2003. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A Milwaukee Department of Public Works employee is on leave after video circulating online shows a couple engaged in sex acts near a DPW vehicle. A spokesperson tells WTMJ they are investigating this alarming video, they say. It was posted online this weekend, but it's not clear if the incident occurred the same day.
Coming up, honoring bravery at the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:04.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Patrick and Monica initially chose a bank to get pre-approved and provide financing for the purchase of their first home. But they were getting a bad feeling when a week after their offer was accepted, the bank still hadn't locked in their rate, nor had the appraisal been ordered. Monica shared her concerns with a friend who happened to be a multi-time AccuNet client. That led to Monica connecting with one of our senior loan consultants the same day, and after gathering some information and reviewing options, we locked in their rate right then and there with loan costs $3,600 lower than what the bank had quoted. The appraisal was ordered right away too, and the loan closed on time just 3 weeks later. We also noticed an oversight in the contract that led to a $3,000 credit from the seller. You can get a generic pre-approval and average or worse service from a bank, or you can get the kind of fast service, advice, attention to detail, and savings that made Monica and Patrick AccuNet's latest raving fans. All you got to do to get started is click on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey, John Mercure here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. I know that, and I know I get it with Pella. They've worked in our house, and we trust them inherently. A lot of customers maybe have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home, but when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust Pella with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Gina Della leads an incredible team, whether it's in their showroom, which is incredible, the Experience Center in Brookfield, or whether it's when they're in your house sitting down at the kitchen table or measuring up your stuff. Pella will get it done every single time, and the attention to detail they gave us, man, unbelievable. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month. You get 0% interest for up to 5 years. 0 for 5. Visit PellaWI.com today. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:06.
A woman from Bayview is using the 911 anniversary to honor her father's bravery.
It's not fair for my dad's story not to get shared.
Julie Henneberry's father, Fire Lieutenant Peter Freund, was killed while in World Trade Center 1.
The gentleman who I spoke to, who last spoke to my dad, said, "Pete, we gotta go." And he responded, "We'll leave when we're done here." Like, he was helping a civilian. He stopped to help someone.
He would never make it out. Now, 24 years later, Henneberry will be appearing at several events on Thursday, including the Packers game. She tells Wisconsin's Morning News why she wants to spread her father's story.
I want to be able to tell my son how brave his grandpa was.
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Henneberry will speak at the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial tomorrow afternoon.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Sports Desk. The Brewers fall 6-3 to the Texas Rangers, losing the series. They're off Thursday before returning home for a series with the Cardinals on Friday night. The Packers signed injured wide receiver Christian Watson to a one-year contract extension. Watson's expected to miss the bulk of this season, recovering from a torn ACL. The Packers host the Washington Commanders tomorrow night at Lambeau.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:07.
There's no better place to catch the natural wonders of fall than Lake Geneva. Stroll a lakeshore path in a kaleidoscope of color. Explore winding rustic roads. Take a scenic boat tour or glide through a forest on a zip line. At night, stargaze from a historic observatory. Cozy up to a campfire or have a cocktail on the patio. Enjoy the seasonal bounty at orchards, wineries, and farms with flavors to savor. Plan your fall getaway now at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva. It's always been the place for fall fun.
Sit Means Sit dog training. They're the best in the business. Got a dog, got a couple dogs. I used to have a couple dogs that didn't behave very well. Sit Means Sit will help you turn that around. They did for us. It was almost like a miracle. I didn't think it could happen, but it did. Bella and Baxter are less jumpy, less barky. They listen better. They walk better. It's all thanks to my friend Matt and his teams at Sit Means Sit dog training. I just trust them. Free consultation is how we started. You can do the same thing. You go in, you meet Matt and his team, they meet your dogs, and then we started the training. Best money we ever spent on our dogs. It's Sit Means Sit dog training.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
On this Wednesday, we're following breaking news. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk has been shot and killed in Utah on a college campus. He was in the middle of speaking. No suspect yet. The manhunt is ongoing. A news conference could take place at any moment in Utah. When that happens, we will bring it to you here.
So, conservative Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated at the campus at Utah University, he's known for going on college campuses and speaking. He's really well known for all of a conservative political movement. And we're not going to show you what happened, but I want to let you know we're going to play the question that was asked, because usually he's on a platform and he's taking questions from the crowd. And this is the last question, and he answers, and then it happens. So this is 15 seconds long if you want to turn the volume down and not listen and come back.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
People are running away. 911 getting a flood of calls. Here's Broadcastify.
And let's be advised, UVU in Orem has had an active shooter at the Charlie Kirk event. We're getting several calls. We're trying to get more information.
And then we're hearing more of the scanner traffic, that there is an active shooter and they don't know where. There's a lot of confusion.
UVU reported one individual that was shot, unknown where the shooter went.
Talking about ambulance, should we bring it or shouldn't we? Shouldn't we? It was crazy. He also spoke here in Milwaukee, the first night of the Republican National Convention this year. And here he is, of last year, excuse me.
Good evening. I'm Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. Together, the largest conservative grassroots organizations in the country. Thanks to our work, I talk to a lot of young people on campuses, at our events, on my radio show, podcast, and social media. Said differently, I visit college campuses so you don't have to.
Charlie Kirk here in Milwaukee. Charlie Kirk has died at the age of 31 years old, and reaction is coming in from all over the place. Donald Trump, one of the first to react because he probably got the news first, tweeted or X'd, "The great and legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie." Trump wrote, "He was loved and admired, especially by me. He's no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you." Bernie Sanders, "Political violence has no place in this country. We must condemn this horrifying attack. My thoughts are with Charlie Kirk and his family." Gavin Newsom also weighed in very early, the California governor, saying the attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form. Before we came into the studio here, Joe Biden had just released a statement. "There's no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end now. Jill and I are praying for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones." Wisconsin elected officials, Tammy Baldwin, saying there are no two ways about this. Political violence has no place in America. I'm keeping Charlie and his family in my thoughts in this truly horrifying moment. And Representative Derek Van Orden saying he was praying fervently for Kirk and his family. Quote, "This left-wing political violence must stop now. Whoever does not condemn this is part of the problem. The gloves are off." Let's not make this political.
No.
I got to tell you, that irritates me. And
Yeah,
we have
let's
Van
not
Orden
do
on the
that.
show all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, in this moment, when they're hunting down the shooter still, when his wife is still mourning,
Oh my goodness. And
when
seeing
the
it.
kids are getting explained to what happened, we don't nig, this is left wing, this is right wing. There's going to be time to sort that part of it out. Can we stop that? This right now, in this moment, isn't about if this is left or right. This is about a guy was giving a peaceful debate on a college stage, and he was shot down, and it was captured on videotape. For God's sake, can we let it have a moment before we got to blame each other for what side of the political aisle we're on? Just stop. Just stop. This makes me more sad than
I know. No,
usual. I feel like I'm going to cry
me
literally.
Too. Me too. Seriously, the video, I felt like I was gonna vomit, and I've seen everything.
Right. You and I have seen more than most people see because of what we did all those years in TV. And this is as bad as I've ever seen it. And before you spout off about who's to blame, except for the guy that did it,
Whoever.
soften your heart and think about his family that's left behind. He's 31 years old, and he has 2 young kids.
Beautiful little kids, and that's what's really getting me.
Me too. It's 5:14 at WTMJ.
Bank 5-9 has a mission to make lives better. They make it a priority to give back to their customers, communities, and their employees. In fact, Bank 5-9 was just honored again by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as a top workplace. That makes 16 years in a row. Want to learn more about working with the great people at Bank 5-9? Visit bank59.com/careers. Equal Opportunity Employer, member FDIC.
WTMJ's Julia Fellow here with a deal you don't want to miss. I was blown away by the Just Between Friends sale in Milwaukee County. So imagine next week walking into 52,000 square feet of gently used kids, teens' clothes, shoes, cribs, car seats, strollers, and toys, all safety checked and up to 90% off the retail price. I have saved literally thousands of dollars. Head to milwaukeecounty.jbfsale.com to get tickets. It starts next Thursday, September 18th at Wisconsin State Fair Park's Expo Center and runs through Sunday, September 21st. milwaukeecounty.jbfsale.com.
What's on Tap with Sandy Max, keeping you updated on culture and creativity.
The Wisconsin Film Office. We can say it out loud. It's going to happen. Academy Award winner John Ridley.
So I'm glad that Wisconsin is getting in the game. I hope they stay in the game. Wisconsin is great because it has so many different looks. It has so many different places. It has places that are untouched. It has places that are incredibly modern.
What's on Tap with Sandy Max, weeknights at 6 on WTMJ.
John Mercure here for Griffin Ford in Waukesha. Got my Ford Explorer at Griffin Ford. I've gotten my car repaired at Griffin Ford. Here's what I like. They've got the best selection. When you go in to look for a car and you've decided what you want or you kind of have an idea, you want to make sure there's lots of vehicles to look at. You get that at Griffin Ford in Waukesha. They've got lots of selection. Also at Griffin Ford, great service department, top tier. As a matter of fact, I had recall work done, and they rolled a repair unit to my house and did the work in my driveway. I didn't even need to take the car into the shop. It's best service, best selection. It's Griffin Ford. Right now, over 300 new pre-owned, certified pre-owned vehicles in stock to choose from. And the clean vehicle tax credit goes away at the end of this month. Let Griffin Ford help you take advantage of savings on the Ford F-150 Lightning, Mustang, Mach-E, or Ford Escape plug-in hybrid before the credit's gone. It's the end of the month. So get in today to Griffin Ford in Waukesha.
Traffic is sponsored by Richlands Tire and Service Center.
Richlands Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlands.com when you're due for service.
Traffic and weather. Hey, Deb.
Hey there, John. We've got some delays out there for sure. Southbound 43 backing up from just south of Capitol Drive all the way down through the Marquette down to the KK River. Northbound is pretty heavy as well. We're starting to see delays from the base of the high-rise bridge up and over all the way through the Marquette up past North Avenue. Westbound 94, watch for delays from 17th Street to Hawley Road. Again, back on the brakes west of Highway 100 towards the county line. We've got a crash on the off-ramp from to Highway T from eastbound 94, so keep that in mind if you're heading through there. Beyond that, we got delays, of course, heading through the Barker Road area, back on the brakes from the Zoo interchange all the way to 27th. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 60. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 77. Friday, partly cloudy, warmer, a high of 85. Saturday, chance for rain, a high of 81. Sunday, mostly sunny, a high of 77 degrees. We are waiting for a press conference in Utah. Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, has been shot and killed, and authorities are expected to hold a press conference. Maybe give us the latest on the shooter situation. At last word, they were still looking for the shooter. So we'll try to bring that press conference to you when it happens. Paul Farrow is with us on the hotline, the Waukesha County executive, former state senator. Paul, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You live in this space, political talk. You're part of it all the time. You're also the former head of the Republican Party in the state of Wisconsin. I guess I want to start with that. This was a civilized debate, the beginning of a tour for Charlie Kirk on college campuses. And by the way, I salute him for getting kids involved in democracy, whether you're on the right or the left. What's your reaction to what you've seen unfold today?
You know, I gotta tell you, John, it's maddening. First, I'm going to say, and I know this will irritate somebody out there, that my thoughts and prayers are with his wife and his kids. This is just terrible. To think that we cannot have a political conversation and have political discourse without violence is crazy. I mean, that's what this country has been based upon, is to have free speech, able to disagree. And in the past, we're amicable. Say, you know what? I agree to disagree. Let's move on. But the level of violence that is ratcheted up on both sides, and I will say, you know, again, as a Republican, watching some of the comments on social media is disgusting. And this has nothing to do, this shouldn't be anywhere near our political scene. It's just crazy.
I agree with you, Paul. I think what's most maddening is, one, a guy has been killed and leaves behind a young widow and young children. But two, that it took like 2 seconds for social media to blow up, blaming this person, blaming that person. Yeah. You know, he deserved this.
I saw that.
It's so disgusting, Paul. How did we get here?
Well, you said it, social media. When you can go out in a world that you are, you're just, the word I'm trying to say?
The main character.
You're anonymous. Yeah, you're anonymous. No, they can post things because it doesn't come back to them. Yep. They're anonymous. They don't have their full name, their address, or anything else. But we're out here in the political world where we have to have everything. You know where I live. You know what's happening. You know what we're doing. And they get to say these things behind a veil that we don't. We stand in front of people and say this is what the situation is. And Charlie Kirk, look, I'll give him credit. He goes out. If you watch most of his events, he stays relatively calm. He gets fired up, just like I'm getting fired up right now. But he stays relatively calm, and he gives individuals that oppose his opinion the opportunity to speak. Show me the signs on the other side where you get to go to their group, give your opinion, and are respectfully said thank you, and you can move on.
Yeah, and what
it's
he
not
was,
a violent assault.
What he was saying, they were talking about gun violence, and then they were talking about mass shootings, and he was talking about, gang-related shootings. And right when he finished his sentence talking about shootings, he was shot in the neck.
Paul,
and it's go ahead.
Good point, Julia. I find myself today, as I came into the show a half an hour ago, thinking about two people. I found myself thinking about Tommy Thompson, who we've had in our studio, and for a half hour talked about the importance of bipartisanship and listening to each other and being civil, and he lived that. And you know what? Maybe it's because you were coming on the show. I found myself thinking about your mom, Margaret Farrow, First Lieutenant Governor female, who lived that every single day. What would your mom, what would her reaction be if she were here today, Paul?
I think she would be saddened. Yeah, I think she really would. I think she would be saddened by the fact that we can't have a respectful conversation anymore. We can't have an ability to talk to each other, disagree on a situation, but talk it out. And when you think about everything that's going on in our country right now and the challenges that we have at different levels of government, it's because we cannot talk to the other side. And I think Congressman Sensenbrenner put this so well. So many times in the early part of his career, he would go out to dinner with Democrats and they would discuss an issue and they would come up to an agreement and say, this is a solution we both can live with. As John, you and I talked about it before. If I were to go out to dinner with County Executive David Crowley, a prominent Democrat, and people saw that, I would be listed as a rhino. He would be listed as whatever a rhino is on the left. And you can't trust them because they're talking to the other side. We could have been talking about ways that we could work with the two counties and be more effective in what we do. Politicians can't do that anymore. And it's sad when you hear the rhetoric that's out there and talking about gun violence. And it's a shame that, again, in Colorado, 3 lives were lost. We got to change the whole conversation back to, hey, you know what? Agree to disagree, shake hands, and walk away instead of throwing punches.
Please.
Well
Yes.
said. Well said. He is Waukesha County Executive Paul Farrow. We had Paul already scheduled to come on the show, and it was because I want to tell you this really quickly. There's something very good for flood victims happening tomorrow in Waukesha County. It's the Waukesha County Expo Flood Relief Drive. This is happening tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Expo Center out there on Northview Road. 11 to 6, if you've been impacted by the terrible flooding that took place a little while back, you can go out there. There will be organizations. There will be resources. There will be all sorts of stuff to help you get back on your feet. 11 to 6. Paul, I'm sorry we didn't discuss that, but I sure appreciate your wisdom and perspective on what happened in Utah today.
Hey, one thing if I could add real quick,
Yes.
John.
Yep.
It's not just people in Waukesha County for the Resource Center. If it's anybody that's been impacted by it, Washington, Milwaukee County, Waukesha County, if you have questions, come here and help. FEMA's already been through. We're working through the process, and we've talked to people from FEMA saying, start your repairs, just document everything, but don't wait for FEMA before you start making repairs to your home. Start your repairs. I don't know what's going to come down the pipe, but you don't want to sit in a house that you can start repairing today.
Good point. So you can check that out tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Waukesha County Expo. Paul, thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
We are sponsored by Sweet Talks Med Spa. Their goals are your goals at Sweet Talks. Welcome to our Everyday Health feature, sponsored by the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. When you or someone you care about is suddenly injured or not feeling well, figuring out where to go for same-day medical care, it can feel overwhelming. To help us make sense of the different options available, we're joined today by Dr. Ani Sorian-Kopf, a primary care physician who practices at the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Lincoln Health Center. Dr. Sorian Kopp, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
What are some of the symptoms that should prompt someone to seek same-day care?
The reasons for seeking care can range from non-emergency conditions, such as allergies or sprains, fever or rash, to more serious conditions like a stroke, major injury, or trauma.
So what other same-day care options might be right?
Many health systems offer on-demand virtual video or telehealth visits with a physician or a nurse practitioner, and in-person care at a fast care clinic or an urgent care clinic. And then we have specialized options like OrthoNow and SpineNow. They provide same-day care for orthopedic, back injuries, neck injuries, and pain. All of these options, including a list of their convenient locations and hours, can be found on freighter.com/sameday.
You mentioned virtual care options. They become more and more popular and common. Tell us a little bit more about virtual visits.
Virtual visits are really...
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, Charlie Kirk has been killed in Utah. Press conference now in Utah. Let's join that live.
He was taken by private vehicle to Timpanogos Hospital, where he later passed. The Utah Department of Public Safety will be co-leading this criminal investigation to find this killer, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are working in unison with the County Sheriff's Office, the local police department, and the University Police Department, all of which have been very cooperative and fully engaged in this process. Shortly after the shooting, we did have a suspect in custody, George Zinn, but he was released from custody after we identified that he did not match the shooting suspect and was not an accurate person of interest. However, he has been booked into the county jail by Utah Valley University Police Department for obstruction of justice. We do still have an active investigation for the person of interest. This incident occurred with a large crowd around. There was one shot fired and one victim. While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual. This is a tragic moment in our state and in our country. As we heal, we encourage everyone who is struggling with news of the incident to call 988, our state mental health crisis line. In addition to that, our partners with the FBI will also be discussing other ways we can communicate through the public for tips and other information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. Our thoughts are also with the people who witnessed this traumatic event. We know that what you experienced was very difficult. Our thoughts are with you as well. As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake Field Office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside with our partners. We are working on setting up a digital media tip line, and as soon as it's established, we'll get that information out to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions. This is very much an active case, and this investigation is in its early stages. We are following all the leads and all the evidence. If anyone has any information, please report it to the FBI or local law enforcement. Thank you.
On behalf of President Tumenez, who we've been communicating with, and she's on her way back right now, I say that on behalf of Utah Valley University, we are shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. We express our sincere condolences to the Kirk family. We grieve with our students, faculty, and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a safe place for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this dark and tragic occasion. I want to thank our law enforcement officers who are leading this investigation, starting with Chief Long and his response here. with the UVU Police Department. We're grateful for your leadership and your team. And again, to the speakers that you've just heard from who are co-leading this investigation. I also want to recognize Sheriff Mike Smith, who has been an invaluable partner as this investigation moves forward. I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel. We are completely aligned with our state and federal partners as we work through this case. Now, this is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to two young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Now, we have a person of interest in custody. The investigation is ongoing. But I want to make it crystal clear right now, to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah. Our nation is broken. We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania. And we had an attempted assassination on a presidential candidate and former president of the United States, and now current president of the United States. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation. If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. But more than the leaders, we just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. to ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Cook stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family, and that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans. With that, we're happy to take a few questions.
The FBI director is posting that a suspect is in custody. I would just like clarification. Do you or do you not have a suspected shooter in custody?
We have a person of interest in custody that is being interviewed right now.
That is not George Zinn.
That is not George Zinn. That is correct.
Is there any indication
or looking for another shooter or anybody else related to this?
Yes, we are actively looking for anyone and everyone who has any possible information relating to this shooting.
Can you tell us details about the suspect being taken into custody? Where? How long ago?
We cannot at this point, but we will get you that information when we can.
Is there believed to be a second individual involved in the shooting?
At this point, there is no information that would lead us to believe that there is a second person involved.
Can you guys talk about the possible shooting?
Do you want to talk about what we know there?
Yeah. The only information we have on the suspect, the possible shooter, is taken from closed circuit TV here on campus. We do have that. We're analyzing it, but it is security camera footage, so you can kind of guess what the quality of that is. But we do know dressed in all dark clothing, but we don't have a much better description other than that.
Where do you believe the shot came from?
The shot came from here on campus, from a location at a potentially from a roof. Yes, a longer distance shot from a roof.
So to clarify, with the security camera footage you have and the person of interest that's in custody, does that match up?
That's what we're trying to decipher right now.
So did FBI or DHS have anything on the threat board this morning?
I can't speak.
I'll just say that the investigation is ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any indications of foreign intelligence involvement?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
Thank you. Can you talk a little about the security of the event itself? Who was there security-wise, and what happens on these kind of events?
Chief Long.
So my name is Jeff Long. I'm the police chief here at UVU, and I'll tell you right now, we are devastated. We're a small police department. We have a very large campus. We have over 40,000 students, and we love our students. We love our visitors, and we're devastated by what happened today. This is the police chief's nightmare. I'm very saddened for the Kirk family. I know his wife and parents found out about this. Obviously he's away from home. He's here in Utah. They find out by a police officer that visits their home. That's tragic. Nobody wants that. But I can tell you about our venue today. This was an open venue. This was outside. We did have 6 officers working that event. We had probably over 3,000 people that were in attendance. It sat down in kind of a bowl area here on the central campus. We have a waterfall area. And so he was kind of in a lower area surrounded by buildings. We had some plainclothes police officers that were in the crowd as well. We train for these things, and you think you have things covered, and these things, unfortunately, they happen. You try to get your bases covered, and unfortunately today we didn't. And because of that, we had this tragic incident. So we did have officers there. We had Charlie Kirk's team. He has a security team that travels with him, and they were here with him when he was shot.
Was the gun recovered?
I'm sorry, see?
Was the weapon recovered?
At this point, I can't disclose that.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, there was a question being asked about mass shooting. Was that person apprehended, and do you know who asked that question?
Say the question again. I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, he was answering a question about mass shootings specifically. Was that person apprehended, and do you know who asked that question?
I do not. We do not have that at this moment.
What kind of weapon was used?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for just one more question, so thank you.
Yep.
question for the chief as well. Was it your team or Kirk's team or a combination of both that kind of set the security protocol for the event?
So we work together. You know, he has his team, and they do this all over the country. We all know that. This is not uncommon for them. They're very comfortable on campuses, and I was coordinating with his lead security guy, and so yeah, we were working together.
Was this a sharpshooter type shot?
Ladies and gentlemen, those are all the questions that we will be answering.
All right, you've been listening to a live press conference in Utah related to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The governor's saying our nation is broken. I don't care what his political policy was. He was an American. And then reminding folks, quote, let me remind you, we have the death penalty in Utah.
Right.
A couple other facts we're learning, 3,000 people in attendance, 6 campus police officers working. Other jurisdictions were also helping out. Charlie Kirk taken to the hospital by a private vehicle, not in an ambulance. And one person is in custody. They believe that to be the shooter, but they're looking for at least one other person this afternoon.
And the same type of vantage point, someone shooting from a roof.
Yep. From a long distance, reports are maybe 200 yards away. It is 5:42 at WTMJ. Alex Stone, ABC News, with more detail. He's been monitoring this as well. That is up next on WTMJ.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
John Mercure here for Colette Tours, Christmas on the Danube. I am taking listeners on a really cool trip, Christmas on the Danube. Beautiful river cruise to the most famous Christmas markets in Europe. This is a wonderful trip, and it's really filling up. Would you consider coming with us? It's next December of 2026. A great itinerary, a brilliant riverboat called the Amadeus. Only 68 cabins, each with a great view. Stunning deck cafe, panorama bar. We'll check out Vienna, Austria's vibrant capital city. We'll visit castles and hillside towns and Germany's oldest Christmas markets. I've got great information, colorful brochure, detailed pricing, itinerary. Send me an email. My email is john@WTMJ.com. john@WTMJ.com. I'll send you all the information if you send that to me. Laugh, shop, world-class food and drink. It's all included on this trip, Christmas on the Danube. I'm going to be there. My wife's going to be there. Won't you join us? Let me get you the information. john@WTMJ.com. Let me shoot you that brochure out right today. john@WTMJ.com.
See two comedy legends together live on stage. The best of Steve Martin and Martin Short.
By the way, Martin Short is also the name I use when I check into a hotel and want to be anonymous.
35 years later, and you're still the jerk.
Steve Martin and Martin Short with Jeff Babko and the Steep Canyon Rangers. Friday, February 27th, the Miller High Life Theater. On sale Friday, September 12th, 10 a.m. at papstheatergroup.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik here for Flanner's Home Entertainment. Does the audio and video system in your home need an upgrade? Well, Flanner's has all the solutions and the installation experts to simplify and upgrade your home entertainment experience. Forget about the impersonable big box stores and risky online purchases. You go with locally owned Flanner's, where quality service, the best brands, and guaranteed best price remain top priorities. Stop by Flanner's in West Dallas, Grafton, or at Flanners.com. Sound advice at the best price. Just press play.
John Mercure here from my friends at Dave Drakamp Heating and Air. It's never too late to start preparing your team, the beloved family at home, for those cold winter months. Is your home team ready for the cold? The tremendous team at Dave Drakamp Heating and Air believes in making the right play, not upselling you on something you don't need. Their certified pros will give you an honest evaluation. They'll make sure your system is ready for whatever winter throws your way. They'll come out. Maybe it's just a repair. Maybe it's just a tune-up. Maybe it's just fine-tuning the way your system works. And if you need a full system swap, you can trust Dave Drakamp's team to knock it out of the park. So get on their schedule today. The closer we get to frigid temps, the more booked they become, and you want to make sure your family is taken care of. Hard to imagine now as we get back into the 80s, but it will turn cold pretty soon. It is Wisconsin. Schedule now before their calendar fills up. Just head to DaveDrakamp.com because when it comes to home comfort, you want a team that delivers in the clutch. The teams I trust are at Dave Dragekamp.
Traffic is sponsored by Rejuvenix Arthritis Pain Clinics. Go to rejuvenix.com for an appointment.
Go to rejuvenix.com to request your appointment.
Traffic and then weather. Debbie Lazaga.
All right. Well, delays right now on southbound 41 continue from Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive. The northbound side's heavy from just north of Watertown Plank Road up to Capitol. Southbound 43 still heavy from Capitol Drive down through the Marquette to the KK River. Northbound is backing up from the base of the high-rise bridge through the Marquette all the way to about Locust. Westbound 94, you're seeing some delays from 17th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound side's backed up out of the zoo all the way through the stadium to about 35th Street. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 60. Tomorrow, sunny and beautiful. 77 will be your high. Friday, partly cloudy and warm. The high will be 83 degrees. Saturday, a chance of showers and storms, mostly cloudy, a high of 81. Mostly sunny Sunday, a high of 77.
We continue to follow the breaking news this afternoon. Charlie Kirk assassinated in Utah. ABC's Alex Stone has been on this story from the very beginning, and he is with us this afternoon. Alex, for those of us that are just learning the details, maybe take us back to the beginning. What do we know this afternoon?
Yeah, so it was just after noontime, Mountain Time, when Kirk was speaking as kind of the kickoff to his Prove Me Wrong tour, which was going to go to Colorado and Minneapolis and Virginia and elsewhere, a second version of his American comeback tour that he had done in the spring, where there were real big turnouts, and his team and Turning Point USA had said that they were planning on kind of a part two to that in what they were going to do with this. He had been invited by the local chapter at Utah Valley University of Turning Point USA to come and speak. He was doing that. He was there was a large crowd. He was throwing Make America Great Again hats out into the crowd. I've been throwing T-shirts, that sort of thing. And he was doing a Q&A portion sitting underneath of a tent, one of the pop-up tents, and there was a single shot. And by all accounts, it was a rifle shot, and investigators believe that it came from a rooftop, somebody dressed all in black who was hiding on a roof, who was not in the crowd itself. One shot that, based on witness video, appeared to be through the chest. Others who were there said it was the neck, but it almost immediately appeared to be fatal, even though he was rushed by a number of men who picked him up and carried him into a waiting SUV. He does have his own security, we know. He went to the hospital, and he was declared dead there. And, guys, initially there was an elderly man who was arrested as a suspect as being the shooter. That person has since been released, but a few moments ago, the FBI announcing that they do have a new person of interest in custody. We don't know anything about that person, but is now in custody, and they're talking to that person right now.
ABC's Alex Stone is with us. Alex, what do we know about the venue? How many people were there? You described it a little bit, but what surrounded the area that he was seated in? What do we know about that area?
Yeah, they were in kind of a bowl in the middle of campus at Utah Valley University in Orem, outside Provo, the kind of a lower area where he was talking, and then the crowd was up on what I believe was grass, kind of going up a little bit with buildings around it. There were some who were up on a large kind of platform or balcony of one of the buildings, and then they believe the shooter up above that on one of the rooftops. But it was a big crowd, just estimating, looking at the crowd size from the videos that were taken, maybe 500, 1,000 people, and they were listening to him. They'd gotten into the Q&A portion. They were talking about transgender issues, and then the one single gunshot went off. And at that point, there was panic. People began running. Seems the shooter got down from that perch and got out of there in that moment. But it was pretty clear pretty quickly that it was a fatal shot.
Still a lot of questions. The person was in black. They only have like a very grainy CCTV footage. The news conference seemed a little bit, misinformation. Kash Patel dropping the news that the person was in custody. And so it looked like there was a lot of misinformation, but it seemed like the governor was very, very firm, emotional, and reminding people that there is the death penalty in Utah.
Absolutely, that it was that this is not going to be allowed under the state of Utah laws, even though this will probably go federal as well based on what it is. There are a number of different ways that the case could go. You're right. Now, Kash Patel announced it right before they came out on social media. It seemed that they had not been briefed yet, and then the governor, by the time he got up and spoke, that he had that information. But initially, the commissioner, the law enforcement commissioner there at the beginning, had said that they were still looking for a suspect, and they didn't know. And they said it was about a 5-minute walk from where they had just gotten the briefing and where they were coming to, and in that 5 minutes, Patel put it out on social media. So by the time the governor got up, he clearly knew about the person in custody. Patel saying under arrest, not just a person of interest, but it seems that it's all developing as they were going in and beginning to talk.
Alex Stone is with us, ABC News. Alex, we know it's a fluid situation, and one person is in custody. There seemed to be confusion in the press conference. Julia kind of alluded to this as to whether they're still looking for another person of interest, although they said the shooter's in custody. What do we know? Is there still a threat out there?
We don't know, and I think, again, this goes back to the announcement being made right as they were walking in, and they all kind of just tried to, as they were learning about it at the same time, say, well, it's a person of interest, but we're still – that there's no indication that there's anybody else involved, if it is, in fact, who they have in custody right now. But we have to find out more. Kash Patel, no doubt, will announce more, and they'll announce more once they figure out the person they've got in custody. But remember, earlier today, they thought they had the shooter, and then that turned out not to be them. So – we've got to find out more about who they've got. This is all developing in the last little while, and if it is the single shooter who they believe, or is it somebody who is helping the shooter out, or does it turn out that this is another misidentification? None of that. We just don't know yet.
And, Governor Spencer Cox there, he said something very interesting. The motive, we don't know maybe the exact pinpoint, but he said exploring ideas, and anyone who is celebrating Charlie Kirk, this conservative man who likes to go on college campuses and debate other people on the other side, I beg you to look in the mirror. And he said that, don't care about anybody's politics, care about being an American. So I think that this is kind of a very introspective day, especially one day before 9/11.
Sure, and there are a lot of people who are heavily impacted, I would say probably on both sides, based on, if you've seen some of the social media video, it is extremely graphic of what went on today. There were, by descriptions of those who were in the crowd, probably 60 to 70% were supporters, and maybe 30% were those who opposed Charlie Kirk, but they were having a discussion, and they were having Q&A, what Kirk was all about, and that open discussion. It does not seem that this shooter was in the crowd. There was surprise among those in the crowd that they were not checked for weapons or anything, but it probably wouldn't have made a difference if this person was not in that crowd and was hidden on a rooftop and off by themselves. But there was shock in the crowd, and there's, really shock around the world right now.
John and I were talking earlier in the hour about seeing the video and not even knowing if that was real. And, John's been in the business for a very long time. I have been in the business for 2 decades, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. What was your reaction, Alex?
Well, it was graphic video, and it was in the moment, and you've likely seen the real video. That is the real video that is going around, and you can imagine for those in the crowd and those who tried to render aid of what they went through as well. It's extremely graphic.
Indeed it is. ABC's Alex Stone. Alex, thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Reaction continues to come in. Our congressional delegation is reacting. So is former Vice President Pence says he's sad, in prayers. Joe Biden, there's no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end now. Jill and I are praying for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones. Of course, the president was one of the first people to weigh in. President Trump saying the great, legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired, especially by me. Melania, and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, leaves behind 2 young children and a young widow. We're continuing to monitor this story. The best way to stay on top of it is WTMJ.com or the WTMJ mobile app. We have got you covered. It is 5:55 at WTMJ.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.